Greetings, family. This is your servant Odia Sempa, the CEO of Odia Sempa Spiritual and Herbal Center. Today, too, is a great opportunity for me to have one or two conversations with you. On our previous videos, I was telling you I think Prophet TB Joshua is still alive, and I'm not the only person who is thinking that way. And with this, our brother analysis and things that he joined together, and with one comment, that comment is coming from a person who was into the church of synagogue the day that they sent TB Joshua quoted calves into his church. So I will be glad to share this video with you. Let's go and watch the video. Then after the video, we put things together. Let's watch the video. But please, before we watch the video, don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. After hitting on the subscribe button, you give it a thumb up and feel free to comment, share your ideas or what you also think under the comment section. Let's watch the video.
How is somebody like that permitted to walk free?
TB Joshua was left with no choice but to disappear. He had to disappear. He had to make the world believe that he died. He is very much alive. On this episode, I will point you to the reasons why TB Joshua stage managed his own death. But first, listen to this.
He is probably one of the greatest con men to ever exist, to con so many millions of people into believing that you are holy.
So, this disciple of TB Joshua described her former spiritual father, who happens to be TB Joshua, as a conman. You might be wondering, what is a conman? Let's look it up on the internet so that we have this conversation in context. What is a conman? A man who cheats or tricks someone by gaining their trust and persuading them to believe something that is not true. Listen carefully. I'll read it again because the entire structure of this conversation will be shaped by your basic understanding of this description of TB Joshua as a conman. I'll read it again. A man who cheats, that's a conman that we are defining here. A man who cheats or tricks someone by gaining their trust and persuading them to believe something that is not true. That's a conman. Continue listening.
The emergency department were responsible for making miracles look real.
TB Joshua was the one who masterminded the manipulation from the beginning to the end.
Before we proceed with this conversation, there are 4 critical aspects of this documentary that I want you to pay more attention to, that I want us to beam more light on, that will probably lead us or lead you, because I've been there already, to the truth or an understanding of the truth. The first aspect is the terminology that was used by this sister. TB Joshua was a conman. I want you to familiarize yourself with that word conman. Understand it. Go back and read the description or even Google it so that you understand what is a conman. Second, I want you to understand the concept of the emergency room as it was explained or described by the victim, by the disciple, the former disciple of TB Joshua. Third, I want you to think about the transparent casket that they used to move TB Joshua around, recording him in that transparent casket so that the world can believe that our hero, our legend is gone. Think about that entire concept. Who came up with that plan and why they came up with that idea of using a transparent casket? Fourth, I want you to look into the time frame between the investigation of TB Joshua's atrocities and the day he was declared dead. Because according to BBC, TB Joshua died few days after they reached out to him, asking him to give his own side of the story. Because these are professional journalists. Before they publish any documentary or any story, they reach out to the other party that is being accused. Few days after TB Joshua received a call that we have so and so and so and so and so and so who are alleging this and this and this and this and this, he passed away. I know there have been conspiracy theories already. Some are saying he passed away because he had a heart attack. Some are saying he might have taken out. He might have committed. You know what I mean? But Mr. PDT is saying none of that happened. He had to stage this whole thing so that it looks real. If you go back to the concept of the emergency room, you understand why I'm saying this and what I'm trying to say.
The emergency department were responsible for making miracles look real.
TB Joshua was the one who masterminded the manipulation from the beginning to the end.
So I want you now to watch this part of the documentary. When they brought out the procession of TB Joshua's funeral, and I want you to read what the BBC said about them reaching out to TB Joshua and about TB Joshua's actual death. Check it out.
Founder of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, TB Joshua, has died. He was 57 years old.
This is a big shock to millions of people around the world and, of course, many people in Nigeria who were directly following TB Joshua.
The Nigerian Senate has held a minute's silence. The lawmakers eulogized Prophet TB Joshua, saying he epitomized.
He is probably one of the greatest con men to ever exist. To con so many millions of people into believing that you are holy.
My people, now let's dig deeper. This was according to BBC News. They said in their own remarks, days after the former disciples gave their first interviews to the BBC, TB Joshua died. Listen. Days after the former disciples gave their first interviews to the BBC, TB Joshua died. We're not so sure how many days it was, but days after these young ladies gave their first interviews to BBC, TB Joshua was declared dead. Did he panic? Did he really have a heart attack? Or was he shocked and he took away his life? Or he knew this was going to be an avalanche of trouble? This pandemic was not going to be his level that he can do damage control or that he can neutralize, because he knew this was going to come from a big platform, a world platform, an international platform. When he heard that, he went into panic mode. He came up with a plan as fast as possible. How can we make this go away? They probably thought about it several times and they couldn't find a way out of it. Said, okay, man, let's make it look like you're gone. Maybe we can counter this documentary. Maybe they will render the documentary useless if the one who stands to be accused is pronounced dead. Just think about it along those lines. Then they said, let it happen. Those who are saying he took his life, TB Joshua can never. He can never take his life. TB Joshua never died. He had no chronic illness. All that was made up. That brother was very fit. He used to go overseas for medical attention. There is no medicine that was not within TB Joshua's reach. Even if he had a heart failure, TB Joshua could afford to have a heart transplant. At his age, he could have never passed away. So think wise. Is there a post-mortem? Is there a report? What's the cause of the death? Heart attack? TB Joshua? Forget it. As the BBC News highlighted days after the disciples gave their first interview to BBC, TB Joshua passed away. Days after. He had to wait to see if these girls will eventually come out or not. And they did. And when he received a call from BBC, he said, man, it's better I eat my money in hiding than to be living and witness this. Second phase, the concept of the emergency room. That lady made it clear that the role of the emergency room was to make miracles look real.
The emergency department were responsible for making miracles look real.
Now let's connect the role of the emergency room and the whole idea of a transparent casket. The role of the emergency room was to make every miracle look real. And the role of the emergency room in the staging of TB Joshua's death was to make his death look real. It looked real. How could they have made it look more real? They used a transparent casket to make the world believe that it was real. It had to be transparent, my people. It had to. That's the mind of a conman. That is the mind of a conman. Let's look up what conman means again so that you understand. A conman is a man who cheats or tricks someone by gaining their trust and persuading them to believe something that is not true. The world was made to believe something that was not true. Those guys are smart. We might not agree with them. We might resent them for the atrocities they bring or they brought to the disciples. But they are masterminds. They had to make it look real. The emergency room played a big role to make it look real. And the best way to make it look real was to use a transparent casket to make everyone see a body inside that resembles TB Joshua. And that body does resemble TB Joshua. That's why it's practically impossible to imagine the possibility of him faking his own death. Because we all saw him. You saw him, they saw him, everybody saw him. It was transparent. Why would he fake his death? Days after, BBC reached out to him for comment on the atrocities, on the crimes, on his horrendous acts against his disciples. He had to send a message back to BBC. BBC, I'm dead. So your documentary is not going to hold any water. Because even if he was still alive, this documentary was going to shake him. His entire legacy was going to crumble. It was going to disappear like it never existed. So to save the little that he had left, he had to go with the so-called honor so that Mughals can be defending him today, saying that let the man rest. Let him rest. Count your teeth using your tongue, my people. Connect the dots and tell me what you think. I know they will insult me in the comments, but I do not care. Do I look like I care? I'm just here to bring the facts to you. You take them or you don't. It's all up to you. The brother is alive. He's watching us. And if you're watching me, TB Joshua, my man, you're the greatest of them all. Conmans that I've ever met. We watch these kind of things in movies. Ha, my brother, you're deep. Tell me what you think in the comment section.
With this analysis that our brother did, please don't use emotional or personality. Just sit down, think about it well, reason as a person. You see, these pastors, these so-called prophets, They've been like they are doing a whole lot. Fake prophecies. Sometimes you see, look at this pastor. I'm going to add this small video so that you watch that one too. He prophesied on the first day, Ghana versus Cape match, and truly, the other way around, let's say the prophecy came to pass, but this is not a prophecy. It's like people have been saying maybe this match, this is going to win, so that's why people were able to bet it. Maybe they put money for it. Maybe if this team, he says this team will win, then the team wins, then he wins the prize. This is how those prophecies have been doing. They sometimes sit down, analyze things. Oh, maybe this might happen, so let me see, this one is going to happen. Then if truly it happens, then it means they win. Look at what this prophet is saying about Kudus, and Kudus make him shame. You see, you let's watch that video too, then think about how they have been behaving. Me, the reason why I'm much interested in those people, you see, they said charity begins at home. Me, I've been teaching about fake miracles and ways and means that those call themselves traditional priests, herbalists, and a whole lot, how they used to trick human beings to think that they possess power or they have power to help human beings. I've been exposing them. That's why I said, maybe if this is your first time of meeting this channel, please subscribe to the channel, hit on the notification bell so that anytime I upload video, then you get it. The expose, I'm going to bring much expose, practical one. And this time around, it's not going to be based on the expose of those traditional priests, fake traditional priests and fake herbalists and all those ones. It's going from all angles of spirituality, tricks that they do that I know. I'll bring it out. Let's enjoy this video and see you again.
People were praising Kudus. Kudus beba match in Mabeje nim Guasie. I'm telling you the fact. And Monfa Moninto the day Jordan I use so Dan Kudus. I repeat, I'm a prophet. Mini match and the Masha woman is in na and I'm in him dear a bakusin na. So when you that Kudus is one. Daniel to forget Kudus. Na Monfa Moni ento Jordan ayu so ayu kitwa no momfa money nto no so munti se Ghana mpo ba fia Jordan ayu 2024 eye ni year momo date wento ensroma kese free sro atone so and obey wonders and miracles nti momfa money nto na ye mompa ye emasa blanti enye Kudus crowd ye yichira me hu fa no me hu se ori ade e wo park so ori ade se nanu ma ori e wo park ne so. And this is a prophet and son of Betisa meaning we ask it. And Sir Kudus Oba match in ma, he is rather come to disgrace himself. So on Mompire because park in the D was so, but in a spiritually not all the D or park and it's all real there. And each and become I can explain more to you.